For Pocketnow, it's time to say Auf Wiedersehen to IFA 2014.
But before we left, we wanted to run down the highlights of the show for you.
Join us as we take you on a tour of the smartphone, tablet, and wearable news we've encountered this week in Berlin. The first devices we saw after landing in Germany, and arguably the most significant smartphone announcements of the show, were Samsung's Note line.
The Galaxy Note 4 is something everyone was expecting coming into the show. Samsung has used IFA to launch its new Galaxy Note smartphones for the last 3 years, and although it's pretty much iterative this year, the Galaxy Note brought some necessary changes to one of Samsung's most popular brands, like actual metal trim and even some newer S Pen features. And even though it's pretty minor, the bump to 32GB for the base model is a trend I'd like to see from more manufacturers. The one device I don't think anyone expected was the Galaxy Note Edge. We've been shown this curved display technology for years. I've seen it at CES at least 2 times now, but I don't think anyone was expecting the Note Edge to actually emerge. But it did, and it's effectively a Galaxy Note 4 without a bezel on the right edge. The display wraps around the side of the phone with 160 extra horizontal pixels. Looks cool and it's interesting until you actually hold and use it. There's a lot we're uncertain of, like how useful it is in portrait or for left-handed users like myself, and if any developers will even use the SDK. Either way, Samsung isn't giving up on curved displays anytime soon. It's only the beginning from the looks of it.
The Samsung device I was most looking forward to was the Galaxy Tab Active. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was a total surprise to me, and I had a good time checking out this rugged tablet. Anyway, it was Samsung's new smartwatch, capable of operating without being connected to a smartphone, which captured my Inspector Gadget imagination in the run-up to IFA. And after holding the Gear S, while I still think the hardware is rather beautiful, if clunky, Samsung's Tizen software didn't do it justice on the show floor. I was much more impressed by the LG G Watch R. It's still no Moto 360, as Joe Levi will doubtless attest, and the name is pretty weird, but its circular display is still impressive. A much more fitting home for Android Wear than Sony's somewhat unremarkable Smartwatch 3. Sadly, as we discussed with guests Nicole Scott and Joshua Vergara on the latest Pocketnow Weekly podcast, none of these wearables are a great fit for women.
The wearables are all too big. I wish that someone would come out with something a little more elegant, something that fits my wrist. I have this, I almost want to say thigh gap, but you know what I mean? Like this like watch gap, whatever this
That's a problem the smartwatch ecosystem has yet to solve, and IFA 2014 didn't do anything to change that.
One place Samsung may be targeting women is with the Galaxy Alpha, based on the advertising we've seen from the company and the tendency of OEMs to market smaller devices to the female audience. The gender angle is a conversation for another time. What we will say now is that the Galaxy Alpha is almost exactly what the Galaxy S5 should have been, even without its IP rating. People, at least in the vocal online communities, want a nicer flagship from Samsung, a pretty handset with nicer build quality to better complement its stance in the industry. An active variant would have brought ingress protection anyway, the Galaxy brand wouldn't have been diluted further, and the Alpha series wouldn't have even needed to exist. It all would have made more sense.
Switching to another S manufacturer, we found Sony's line of larger devices more impressive, but thanks to the company's quick-paced release cycle, nothing here is a real surprise. The Z3 is an improvement over the Z2 in both features and hand feel, and the Z3 Compact builds on Sony's past experiment in smaller flagships. On the bigger side, the Z3 Tablet Compact brings the slim design and light weight of the Tablet Z to a smaller form factor, and given how much we enjoyed using the original Tablet Z in the bathtub, we're excited to give this one a try.
Speaking of size, Huawei went big with its Ascend Mate 7 in more ways than one. For starters, it went all metal, ditching the glossy plastic Fior. It also blatantly ripped off the design of HTC's One Max, even taking what Michael refers to as the G-string. But it has a huge battery, beautiful software, and the best mobile fingerprint scanner we've ever used. It's fantastic and works exactly how a fingerprint scanner on a phone should work. Huawei packed everything it could into this phone, and it's a truly solid entry.
And let's not forget Microsoft. The company dazzled us with the colorful notification lights of its new wireless charging plates and teased us with the possibilities of Lumia denim. But the real star of this show is the Lumia 830, a smartphone meant to bring Nokia's excellent camera experience to a lower price point with a special 10-megapixel PureView shooter. Its sibling, the Lumia 730, is much less notable. While it's got a solid front-facing camera, it's mainly a vehicle for Microsoft's new selfie app, which will be made available to other Lumia phones eventually.
And much of the news from IFA came from the other side of the world. Our own Adam Dowd was on site at Motorola's Chicago event, and everyone's favorite Android guy, Joe Levi, unboxed the new Moto X, Moto 360, and Moto G. The Moto X is now 5.2 inches, framed in aluminum, comes with bamboo and leather backplate options, and has front-firing audio. The Moto 360 is the same circular Android Wear watch we've been drooling over since spring, but it didn't launch with the steel band options, only leather straps. And the Moto G grew to 5 inches, has a higher res camera, and it also has front-firing audio, all for the same starting price as before, $179 before tax.
And a bit of a loose end from HTC, something we saw quite early in the show, is the Desire 820. Looks a lot like the other members of the Desire family, but with much more stylish trim, a big old screen, and a 64-bit processor, which of course will matter a lot to those who want to crow about specs, and might matter more as Android starts taking advantage of hardware like that.
Thanks for joining us from Berlin for another exciting International Funkausstellung.
And if you want an even longer rundown of IFA 2014, tune into Pocketnow Weekly 112, where Mobile Geek's own Nicole Scott and Android Authority's Joshua Vergara join us for an extended podcast running down all of the fun and exciting and maybe some of the disappointing stuff from this show. Until next time, this has been Michael Fisher.
And I'm Taylor Martin.
And we'll see you on the other side of the Fernseturm.